it's Tom here from Foam Data Services, and today we're going to be looking at the Retaliator Stage 1 and 2 solid kits from Orange Modworks in a bit more detail. And I'll just go over what you get in the kits. So in the Stage 1 kit you get this metal catch plate, and you get the 5 kilogram spring, and under here you get the uprated catch spring, and you also get a little metal reinforcement part that goes in the back here of the stock connector, just to put a little bit more strength behind this piece of plastic here. And that's an optional part, and it does move the stock connector back a little bit. In the Stage 2 kit you receive your metal trigger, you receive your new breech, and you receive your new bolt sled here, and you receive a new plunger which is inside here, and there is your new plunger, and these are in the black glass reinforced nylon. Now I've tested these on the chronograph and I've been kind of disappointed by the results that I've received from this kit, and I wanted to explore a couple of the things that I think need to be looked at with it, and you have to bear with me. I'll dismantle the blaster as we go through, and I'll show you various things that I found with this kit. Now these are my opinions and they're based on chronograph testing. I do a 50 shots blind test where I run brand new darts, and then I publish my results. You can see them in the description box, and I'm obviously keen for other people to get involved in this. So if you've tested your Orange Modworks kit over the chronograph and you've done more than 30 shots, so that would give us a better sample, please feel free to comment, or you can post on my BritNerve post and add yourselves your data. Okay, so I've attached a few of the components here so that I can get my fingers in there a bit more easily to move things around. And I'm first going to go over the things that I think are really good about this kit. First of all, obviously it's nice to get all these brand new internal parts here, and the quality of the packaging is very nice, and you're receiving a good hard feeling material, and it certainly feels like its durability should be pretty good. And I know similar materials are used in the Explorer kits, and users have reported really good durability with those. I also think that the metal trigger is a really nice function feel, and it feels really solid and chunky, and it works pretty well. My issues with the overall finish of the kit, the metal parts had very thick mould lines on them, and I really hate that, and it also compromises function, particularly here on the ramp. And if you've got a big mould line down the middle of your part, and you can see, maybe, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, no, we can't really see it on there. It's very hard to pick up on that steel grey of the cast material, but there was a thick mould line in this area of the ramp, right in the middle, right where it interfaces with the catch, and I felt that this, and also here on the trigger face, there was a very thick mould line, right here where your finger actually sits on the front half of the trigger, which needed to be very carefully removed and sanded, and then I polished it afterwards. And I think that's worth doing if you want that tactility, and you like really nice precise performance out of your blaster. I think it's worth doing that. Otherwise, yeah, probably the wear line would wear off. And where the AR is removed, in this area here, you do get a bit of dead space in there, unless your dart's right round into the breech. So I've been investigating putting a Venturi piece in here, and that will come off the 3D printer, and we'll have a Venturi shaped part that will just slip down into the back of the breech there to cover up the hole, and it will also fit the stock breech. Okay, so I want to investigate the dart fit in the breech, and I think this is one of the issues. You've got a nice smooth breech there where the airflow looks really good, but I don't think the dart fit is as good. Now I've got an Elite dart, and they're going to be a little hard to see blue on blue. I just tap that with my little finger. See, I'm not exerting much force. Now it's getting there, that's now reaching a point where it's gripping the dart a bit better. And it doesn't feel to me like a really tight kind of air gun fit on there. And if I try the same with the stock breech. So here's the standard Elite breech. And that's loose up to there. Right, I'm just at the end of the peg now. That's starting to get tighter. And from here, I'm having to push quite hard to get that in there. Let's just see if we seal up the end. Right, when I pull that out, we should get a pop. Nearly. Let's have a look at the Orange Modworks breech. Now, it feels fairly airtight. It's loose though, it's definitely looser in here than it is in the other breech. And see, I can slide that, look, I'm sliding that, dirty, eh? Sliding that, look, so we can see that that's fairly easy. I can move that in and out of the breech. That's not hard to move inside the breech. And then if I do this with the stock breech, again, slides fairly easy up until this point, but here where it actually loads, much tighter. So you can hear that that's tighter. Whereas again, Orange Modworks breech, see, that's really loose, and you can feel that is not as tight. Some darts are a better fit. This one's a better fit. It's a bit of a tighter fit, this dart. I'm really having to work to get that in and out of the breech. Try and do that on the stock breech. Now that now is encountering quite a bit of resistance here. So that's the first problem. I think that this Orange Modworks breech is a little bit oversized somewhere. It may be that I have a lemon, but I would think that if you were aiming for good production tolerances, that you shouldn't get those, and that if your production tolerances were in the right area, you wouldn't be having these problems. Yeah, the other thing I had with this kit was that you have to be extremely careful here with the fit of the O-ring on the plunger tube. It's a very, very tight fit, the Orange Modworks O-ring, and if you make any kind of mistake, then it'll bunch in here inside the plunger tube, and it'll derp your performance pretty badly. Now if you've got a very, very stiff prime at the back, so the catch isn't going in very well here, it's because of your O-ring. So it's worth checking that. If you've got the Orange Modworks O-ring in, make sure that this plunger is coming all the way back here to allow for a comfortable prime. And I've tweaked this one again now, and actually that's providing a pretty good seal. I'm not getting any air leak out of there, and it feels like the speed should be fairly good, which was one of my issues with the Orange Modworks O-ring, how tight it is. Now Chris Cartier from Cartier Modworks over there in California has done a lot of work with Retaliators, and he likes a good tight fit on the O-ring, and he runs a 14 kilo spring in his, and he says the key is piston velocity, because you've got a small air volume and you're trying to compress it as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So you don't want too tight a fit, but you want a good movement. So it's actually better than it was when I fitted it the first time, so I would say that may have been a bit of operator error there. So my conclusions about the Orange Modworks Stage 1 and 2 kit: it's very well designed, and I think Orange Modworks should be applauded for their energies that they've put into making this kit and getting it into production, and it's been a long time in coming for them. It's been one of their biggest projects to date, and I love the ergonomics of the metal trigger, and the metal catch, you do get less flex in it. I'm not sure it's entirely necessary at 5 kilos, but for those people who like to go higher on their spring rates, it's probably quite a useful part. And on the Stage 2 setup, obviously, you know, you're getting these new reinforced parts, which hopefully should give you greater durability. I can't see where there are any performance gains to be had from those parts, because they're basically the same as stock, in that you've got a straight through breech tube, and then an ordinary bolt sled, and the plunger is the same. It's just a different material. Although you're less likely to crack your plunger head now with the air restrictor removed. There are still those issues with dead space in the breech. There is a little bit back there, and I'm looking at ways to tackle that now. I think the biggest disappointment with this was the non-shipping of the sealed breech end. I think that was a major mistake, because a lot of people were really keen to get that, and the whole point of buying Stage 1 and 2 together and paying all that money for pre-order was to get the Stage 3 breech and that really cool looking barrel that they've made. For a performance testing perspective, having that Stage 3 breech mechanism for this end, where it'll lock up against the tube, would have been really good, and I think that was the biggest mistake they made on this whole build, was not getting that properly organised. And I know that it's been difficult for them to get everything together. So, in short, not a bad kit, and very nicely designed, and obviously we have to encourage and applaud Orange Modworks for investing so much in our hobby and putting so much of their time into it. For UK customers, I think the biggest problem is that we can't get them directly over here, and you have to go and get them shipped from Houston or from Taiwan. At the moment they're shipping direct from the manufacturers, it seems, and this makes them very expensive. And I think for the money, for feet per second gained at the moment by the spring, there's UK suppliers for the spring, and they're £5 for the spring. And then get yourself an uprated catch spring from your local hardware store. So for some reason we don't get those with our springs. And then take out your air restrictor. Just take the air restrictor out of your stock breech. And then when you break your piston head, then just look for somebody's second-hand Retaliator and buy another one. Because to be honest, with the cost of these blasters, the cost of the kit is kind of uneconomic. You know, you'll get through 3 Retaliators with the modified spring before you even hit the price of the Stage 2 kit. If you want some fancy metal parts, then by all means go ahead. If you want a metal catch plate, you know, you can get the Stage 1 kit. But the only real use for the Stage 2 kit for UK people is that increased durability. And the next thing we've got to get now is I'm waiting for the seal breech to arrive, and then I'll put the seal breech assembly through its paces on the chrono.